ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for remaining with us. Now, you're still watching Financial Markets. Now, if you haven't watched our YouTube channel, please consider subscribing. You can watch us live on Smart24 TV Live. That is our YouTube live stream. And you can always leave a comment in the section, in the comment section below. And also, you can follow us on our Twitter handle at Smart24 TV. My personal handle is Anthony Sebale, and you can also follow me. And of course, you can tag me along, and of course, we can be able to interact on various platforms. If you have any questions, any concerns that you might need us to raise. Now, let's move on to Stanbic Bank Uganda. Stanbic Bank Uganda came out yesterday as one of the gainers. However, we have seen a decline in price for Stanbic for quite some time, though with a very small margin, because remember, this is a counter trading with a very small price, 26 shillings beginning the year for your note. Now, yesterday, we had at least the counter go up by 0.1% up to 20.02 Ugandan shillings closing price. In the stock markets, when we look at a gain, it doesn't matter how small it is, we consider it very considerable, because again, this, remember, depends on how much stock you're holding. So yesterday alone, Stanbic traded a total volume of over 151,800 shares, and they pushed the price to a 20.02 Ugandan shillings. As I told you, this entirely depends on demand and supply of the shares, and so that's how prices move. And we have a 15% window within which we can run our business. Now, yesterday, Stanbic went up by 0.02 shillings. Yes, well, you might think that is insignificant. We think it is significant because imagine a person who has, let's say, billion shares in Stanbic. If they have a billion shares, right now, their stock could have increased by over 20 million. That is significant for them. You cannot say it's not significant. And so Stanbic went up by over 0.02 Ugandan shillings to trade at a closing price of 20.02 after trading over 151,000 shares. Now, the gross turnover of these shares, and I'm showing you here the picture of how important a small shift is, was 3.04 million. That is out of the trading of these 151,000 shares that we had on the market. And they have a total number of outstanding shares of 51.2 billion shares, and the current market capitalization of 1.02 trillion Ugandan shillings. And looking back at the beginning of the year, they began with a price of 26 Ugandan shillings, and yesterday closing off at 20.02. Now let's compare the two prices and find out the percentages we come up with. In terms of year-to-date performance, they have lost 26% or 23% of their price valuation for the year-to-date performance, and this ranks them number 13 on the Uganda Securities Exchange in terms of year-to-date performance. 13 out of the 18 listed companies on the exchange. Now, and Stanbic Bank Uganda is the third most traded stock. However, when we talk about most traded stock, as I say, we're looking at volumes. How much are you trading? It doesn't matter the price. It doesn't matter where you began the year from, how much you've lost on year to date. We are looking at activity. And when we look at activity over the last 3 months on the market, Stanbic Bank Uganda has traded over 19.3 million shares within the period May 13th to the August 16th, 2022. And they have had a total gross turnover of about 413 million within 3 months. Now, put that in perspective. A company is trading at prices as low as 20 shillings on average. And within 3 months, we have over 413 million Ugandan shillings transacted on the counter, meaning there's good activity. People are buying, people are selling, and there's hope, and definitely there's a lot to expect when it comes to this trading. On average, they have been trading within these last 3 months a total of 306,882 shares per trading session, and they have had a volume high of 10.2 million shares, which was witnessed on the 8th of August within this same period just recently. And when you look at their table for performance on a daily basis, you're seeing that on 16th yesterday they had some trading of over 151,000 shares. Then on the 15th of August, the day before, they still had some trading of over 376,200 shares. And then on the 12th of August, they had over 55,700 shares that were traded. Then on the 11th, they still had some volume. And then on the 8th and the 4th and so on, they still had volume. And on all these days, there's a slight adjustment in pricing. They lose on a particular day, they gain, they lose and they gain, which is a good performance indicator. At least you have chance to buy whenever they're going down. You have chance to sell every time you see those digits in green going up. And so Stanbic Bank Uganda there is for you to be able to buy some stock. Remember, you also need to look at affordability of the stock, because 20 shillings, honestly speaking, 20 shillings, and meaning with 20,000 you have over 1,000 shares. With 200,000 you have over 10,000 shares. With 2 million you have over 200,000 shares. That is something priceless. When it comes to the dividend, you will understand how important it is to hold volumes, because then you know that the bigger your shares that you're holding, the better your income, your passive income. This is money you're not going to wake up and struggle and sweat for. It's money you've invested, and money that is going to bring you a little extra income. How I hope that you catch the fire and get to start to invest and be able to buy yourself some stock. That 20,000 you're probably going to spend on beer on the weekend. Yes, you can decide to invest it in Stanbic Bank and enjoy some of these benefits. Now, they have competitors on the market because they deal in the financial services sector, and we have a couple of other banks as well. And remember, as you're investing also in a certain sector, you want to invest in the best in the sector. And so that is based on the different performance indicators, year-to-date, equity, and so on. Now, Equity Bank Limited is a competitor who has lost only 0.59% in terms of year-to-date. But then, remember, Stanbic has lost over 23%. But then Equity's stock is currently at 1,588.23. That is after a daily loss of 93.94 Ugandan shillings and a 5.58% shedding off their price valuation yesterday. Now, are you willing to part with 1,588 to still invest in a company dealing within the same sector with almost zero activity over the last couple of months and almost zero traded volumes? Well, it's up to you. But however, Equity has the highest market capitalization of over 5.88 trillion. That is one good thing about Equity Bank Limited. The other bank dealing in the financial services sector, closely competing with Stanbic, is KCB Bank. That is Kenya Commercial Bank, at a capitalization of over 4.04 trillion. However, they have lost about 4.27% on their year-to-date performance. Stanbic has only lost about 23.0%. But still, their closing price yesterday was over 1,353. Still much higher, much higher. So It's up to you. If you can afford this, definitely you can go for it. But Stanbic still comes at a very much more affordable price. Then Bank of Baroda, I can say, is another close competitor. First of all, he's more tradable because he is the number one valuable stock, not number one most traded stock between the month of May and the month of August. But why is he coming in the first place? Well, not because Bank of Baroda has very intense activity. Every day you're seeing that they're buying stock on Bank of Baroda. No, they had a very high volume of over 27.1.3 million shares that was traded in the month of July. That is around 13th of July, and this pushed them to almost becoming the most traded stock, and actually they're the most traded stock as per those figures. But when you look at a daily activity, basing on the daily activity, still Stanbic comes in with much more activity. We're seeing Stanbic come in with much more activity, and so I can still bet that Stanbic Bank is more tradable than Kenya Commercial Bank, than Bank of Baroda Uganda, much as they're very much closely competing. And then National Insurance Corporation, well, it's an insurance company, but still in the financial services sector. They come in at a gain of 17.7% on the year-to-date performance. However, their prices are as low as 6 shillings. And that means definitely they give you more affordability. Yes, there's more affordability. There's still a gain on the year-to-date, but a smaller market capitalization of about 8.49 billion Ugandan shillings. DFCU Bank at 5.69% year-to-date loss in performance is trading at 547, still higher than Stanbic Bank, and not much activity as of course Stanbic Bank Uganda. And we can I think wind up that performance there for Stanbic Bank Uganda. Definitely they opened the market today with a price of 20.02 Ugandan shillings notably, and some of that stock today before you close the day if you're interested in doing so. Let's move now to Umeme. Some activity came up to Umeme after a couple of days of dormancy. Umeme has been listed on the Uganda Securities Exchange since the year 2012 on the 30th of November. And they trade under the ticker symbol UMEM. And yesterday they closed the markets with a price of over 200.11 after gaining by 0.11 Ugandan shillings, and that was a 0.06% daily gain. And yeah, you can see, depending on how you see it, they traded on the volumes of about 23,774 shares that were valued at exactly 4.76 million Ugandan shillings. And in terms of a weekly performance, they're still on a gain of 0.06%. And when you look at the year-to-date performance, they're still on the gaining side because they began the year with a price of 189 Ugandan shillings. That graph just shows you how the prices have moved for Umeme Uganda Limited all the way at the beginning of the year from 189 shillings, and you see that a very sharp increase to form on a plateau around the month of April of over 240 Ugandan shillings. That was at the helm of their dividend payout, when people, of course, were very enthusiastic to buy into the Umeme stock. And when you look at their monthly performance on a weekly basis, on a 4-week basis, they have gained still by 5.88% on that price valuation, and they're ranked 4th in terms of monthly performance, or in terms of 4-week performance. Well, we saw a decline slightly after the dividend payout. Of course, as we know, people buy stock, and then when they get the dividend, they want to sell it out and move out of the market. But we are seeing that the company is coming back really strong from the lower prices below 200 to now 200.11. Remember, notably, is the second most traded stock still within these last 3 months. And what makes it so, between the month of May 12th, from the 12th of May to the 16th of August, it has traded a total volume of 26.8 million shares that are valued at 6.35 billion Ugandan shillings. Now that's a very good 3-month performance, and they have an average of 424,830 shares that are traded per trading session, and a volume high of 7.44 million that was achieved on the 20th of May within the same period. When you look at daily performance, on the 16th they traded 23,000 shares, about that, more than 23,000. On the 10th of August we had 20,500 shares, and then on the 9th of August we had 2,000 shares, and on the 8th of August we had 4,800, and you can monitor that performance and see that they've had some good activity, at least within the recent past couple of days. They have no competitor on the market dealing in the supply and distribution of electricity in the country. Well, that is Wumeme stock for you. If you're interested, you can be able to access that stock with the opening price at 200.11 shillings, definitely today morning at exactly 9 a.m. Let's cross over very fast to MTN Uganda, who came out as a loser yesterday with a very small loss of 0.53 Ugandan shillings off their price, down to 190 Ugandan shillings per share at a 0.28% loss. Now, MTN Uganda is the youngest company on the to be listed so far on the Uganda Securities Exchange. They do have a ticker symbol, MTNU, and they have been trading stock since the 6th of December 2021. And the MTN stock currently is the second most valuable on the Uganda Securities Exchange, with a total capitalization of over 4.26 trillion Ugandan shillings on the exchange, and that is about a share of 18.9% of the total equity on the Uganda Securities Exchange. And well, yesterday they had a volume of 9,431 shares that were traded, and these were valued at 1.79 million Ugandan shillings on the stock market. And we currently is looking at a total of 22.4 billion shares that are outstanding, and 4.26 trillion capitalization in terms of the value of the shares that are listed. Well, MTN still on the 1-week basis, it is still on the gaining side. When we look at exactly 7 days ago, it has gained by a 2.6% increase, and then on a 4-week basis, it is still on the gaining side by about 0.07% gain. And while on the 3-month performance indication basis, we are seeing a 2.7% increase still in the price, while on the 6-month basis we're still seeing a 5.78% rise. And in terms of 1-year performance, they are declining by about 7.32, and year to date they have declined 2.56%, because of course they began the year with a price of about 194.99 Ugandan shillings per share, and that indicates, when you compare with exactly 190.0, 2.56% loss of their price valuation, and ranking them the 7th in terms of year-to-date performance in the Uganda Securities Exchange. MTN Uganda is the fourth most traded stock, and that is in terms of volume over the past 3 months. As I've seen over the very recent weeks, MTN has had one of the best activities almost every single day, trading some volume of shares. With a total of 11.6 million shares that has been traded within the last 3 months, and this is valued at exactly 2.17 billion Ugandan shillings. And the average traded shares per session have been 184,000 shares within this period. They achieved a volume high of over 2.11 million shares on the 12th of July within this same period, and of course that brings them very good activity as well. And they are dealing in the telecommunications sector, and no other company on the exchange so far deals in the same. So they have no direct competitor in the telecommunications capacity. That is it for the top gainers and the bottom losers here on the Uganda Securities Exchange. You can find more on our website, www.smart24tv.com. You can find all the analysis there, and you can find some of the information regarding the gainers and the losers as well. You can also visit the Uganda Securities Exchange website at www.use.org.ug for more information on how you can buy stock, on how you can also be able to open an SCD account using their easy portal that is on the Uganda Securities Exchange website. We're going to take another quick. Remember, today we are talking to Mr. Muri Musazi, who is from Standard Bank Group Securities, subsidiary of Stanbic Uganda Holdings. We are talking the bonds. If you want to learn more, please come closer after this very short break. We return. Stay with us.